Welcome to Vulnerable Relationships.
I am William and I met Sophia, my future fiancée, 2 years ago through a friend. I had recently broken up with my ex-girlfriend after her cheating. My self-esteem was rock bottom, and I was constantly pestering my friends with my grief. One of them, Adam, suggested that I go out on dates with new people or I would keep brooding for a long time. I knew he was somewhat right, but I did not want to admit that to him because I was not ready for it. I feared going through the same pain again, and it held me back. After much insistence from Adam and his girlfriend, I agreed to meet one of her friends. That was how I met Sophia. We went on a double date with Adam and Katie to a restaurant. I had insisted that they should be there for the first time I met Sophia, as I was pretty sure I would mess things up. I had been away from dating and this stuff for so long that I had forgotten how to do it. That date with Sophia went surprisingly well. Having Adam and Katie by my side was reassuring, as we never ran out of topics to discuss. Sophia had just graduated and was working as an intern at an office. She had many plans for her future, and seeing her talk about them very ambitiously seemed good. I told her about my business, which was running quite well. As I got home that night, I felt much better. I realized I was ready to date again if the next person was good, and Sophia seemed really nice in the first meeting. I texted Adam and thanked him for dragging me out of my hole. He sent me Sophia's number and wished me the best of luck. I texted Sophia telling her that I had a great time and I would be looking forward to meeting her again. Sophia responded quickly. She said that she too had a great time. We decided to meet again the following weekend. The whole week, my date was the only thing that stuck in my head. I was dying from anticipation. I even wished I had decided a day sooner than the weekend. Such obsession from the first meeting did not sound healthy, but it was not like I had any control over it. I could not help but feel an immense attraction towards Sophia. Finally, the weekend arrived and I no longer had to wait. I was very concerned that I should look good. I changed my outfit thrice before I settled on a dark blue shirt and slim pants. I got there on time. Sophia was already there when I reached. I found it weird, but I went in and greeted her. We sat down and began to talk. I did not realize that time had passed so quickly. The conversation went so smoothly. We went through lots of topics and all of them were exciting. I loved how much we clicked together. From then on, we began to date, and I thought it was the best thing that had happened to me. Within 6 months, we got engaged. When Adam and Katie heard about our engagement, they came over to congratulate us. They were very happy for us and said they could not just wait for the wedding. I wanted to keep it low-key and straightforward, but my friends and family were only up for it. They said they wanted a big fancy wedding where they could see the joy of our union. I disagreed with them, but Sophia did, so I had to. The wedding preparations began and everyone was excited about it. We were searching for locations for the wedding. Sophia wanted a natural setting, not some hall with artificial decorations. We found a beautiful place for our wedding, outside the city, with trees and flowers. The moment I looked at it, I could imagine myself getting married there. I asked Sophia, and she too was mesmerized by its beauty. It was just so alluring and breathtaking. I was glad I had found this place for my wedding. I sent pictures of the location to my parents and they loved it too. I knew this wedding was going to be perfect. However, I was proven wrong. One day, I went to pick Sophia up from the coffee house. She was there with her friends. Katie was also there. I just knew Katie and Helen in Sophia's circle. They were the closest to her. Sophia went to the washroom and I talked to her friends while waiting for her. They told me they were planning a surprise bachelorette party for her. They were going to hold it 2 months before the wedding. I asked them why they arranged it so early, and Katie pointed out that it would be expected near the wedding and would not be a surprise. Sophia's friends kept joking about hot strippers, and I told them not to spoil my fiancée and intoxicate her. In the middle of this conversation, Sophia returned from the restroom and we had to stop talking. I took her to the movies and had a good time. The time before the wedding was flying because we were busy preparing. Picking out the wedding dress was the most difficult decision we ever had to make. Sophia was very fashion conscious and I just wanted her to be happy. She chose my tux herself and I loved her choice. I trusted Sophia's fashion sense. She did not let me see her wedding dress because it was considered a curse. However, I did walk in on her by mistake and I saw her. I stood frozen because it was like she had cast a spell with her beauty. She looked just like an angel in that white dress. My jaw dropped and I did not realize it. Sophia stared at me in horror and asked me to get out of the room and close the door in my face. She came out minutes later after changing her dress. I was sitting outside. I got up and gave her the kiss that was pending. She told me it was considered unlucky to see a bride in her dress before the wedding, and I told her I had her, so I trusted my luck. She smiled and kissed me. I did feel like I was the luckiest man on earth. Next week, Sophia asked me if we could watch a new movie that had just been released. I had to refuse her because it was the Saturday her friends had planned the Bachelorette party. I made up an excuse from work and she was unhappy. I did not expect her to make such a big deal out of it, but Sophia was furious. She had told me about it a few days ago. Perhaps that was why she had expected me to clear her schedule. I had to let her stay mad to keep the Bachelorette party a secret. Sophia was at her home when her friends came by and took her to the club, where they had arranged a private event for her. Helen and Katie had texted me about it. I stayed at my home and watched television. I was expecting a text from Sophia that night. I waited until 12 at night, but she did not text back. I fell asleep watching a movie. When I woke up in the morning, I checked my phone to answer Sophia, but I was surprised to see that she still had not texted. It was weird. No matter how much we argued or fought, we never ignored each other like this. And after the Bachelorette party, she must have known that I knew of her friend's plans, so I had to refuse. Yet, she had not responded. It was so irrational, and I knew something was just not right. I called Sophia, but she did not pick up the call. I began to get worried. I went downstairs and had breakfast. I had to check on her, as things did not feel normal. Sophia was not the person to ignore me and not pick up my calls. I was about to leave my home when my phone rang. It was Sophia. I picked it up instantly and asked her if everything was okay. Sophia's voice sounded strange. She did not seem alright. She said that she was okay. When I told her she did not sound okay, she said it was just last night's hangover. She had gotten really drunk last night and had not replied to my text. I sighed in relief. 2 weeks later, I was at Sophia's house. She called and asked me over, as she said she had a very important piece of news to share. She made it sound very urgent, so I went straight to her house. As I went inside, she asked me to sit down and finally broke the news that she was pregnant. I was taken aback. It was the last thing I had expected her to say. I had never considered it, but this news did not upset me. It actually felt good. I was happy. It took me a few minutes to process this big news, but I was pleased. I was marrying the woman I loved the most, and now that I knew I was having a child with her, it made me go over the moon. I did not think I was ready to be a father, but one can never be entirely prepared for it. What matters most is that you are ready to make all the possible efforts to be the best. I took Sophia in an embrace and kissed her. I told her I was grateful for her and that this news brought me more joy. Sophia seemed worried. She was not happy, perhaps. I reassured her that she didn't have to worry. We will handle it together, and I will always be there for her. She smiled, but I could see she was not at ease. I thought it would be because of all the nervousness of the wedding, and now this considerable change being added to it. I tried my best to comfort her as much as I could. The next day, I was in my office when I got a call from Sophia's friend, Helen. It seemed weird, but I picked up the call. Helen sounded extremely worried. She asked me if I could meet her urgently. I did not want to do it without asking Sophia first, but before I could put my concern before her, she said that I could not tell Sophia at any cost, as this had everything to do with her. I did not feel good about it, but I decided to listen to Helen and met her at a cafe. Helen told me to take a deep breath and listen to everything with patience. She said that Sophia had slept with one of the strippers at her bachelorette party. My mouth dropped open at this sentence. She said that the child Sophia was pregnant with was not mine. It was that stripper's child. I wanted to say that Helen was making all this up, but she took her phone out of her purse and opened some pictures. In those pictures, Sophia was doing it with a stripper. Helen said that she had tried to stop Sophia, but Sophia was too drunk and was not listening. The rest of the girls did not try to stop her. Helen said that she tried a lot to keep this to herself, but when she found out that Sophia was pregnant, she could not hide it from me. It would have been unfair to do so. I asked Helen to send me the pictures. I got home and cried like a baby. Once I was done crying my heart out, I began to plot my revenge. I could have quickly canceled the wedding, but that would have been super simple and inadequate. I decided to leave Sophia on the wedding day. After a week, my wedding day finally arrived. I had been waiting for it impatiently because it was the day that I was going to kick Sophia out of my life permanently. I had put on a projector and I was going to bring the truth in front of everyone. I got ready and everything was going as it was supposed to. Just before the ceremony was about to start, I asked for everyone's attention. I announced that there was something that I wanted everyone to see as it would mean a lot to me. Everyone looked at the projector and I began to play the pictures and videos that Helen had sent to me. There was a hush in the crowd. Everyone's eyes were glued to the screen and they had drawn their hands to their mouth at what they had just seen. Sophia looked at me and began to cry. I looked at her with nothing but disgust. I announced that the wedding had been called off as my ex-fiancé was a cheater and was pregnant with some stripper's child. Sophia fell down crying. She kept apologizing and crying, but I just left her there and came back home. It was one of the worst days of my life. I was in immense pain. Being betrayed like this was a grief I was never prepared for. But I was also glad that I had come to know about it before I got married. I was thankful to Helen that she had not let me live in this delusion. For weeks, Sophia kept trying to contact me, but I did not respond. I had cut her out of my life completely and forever. She left me several voicemails explaining that she was too drunk, that she was not in her senses, and this was a one-time thing. But I just blocked her as I didn't want to listen to that crap. I don't know how it happened, but Helen and I began to hook up as Sophia and her other girlfriends had turned her out of the group for spilling their nasty secret. Helen's honesty towards me had pulled me to her and we began to date. A few months later, I heard from Adam that there was no sign of the stripper who had got Sophia pregnant. She had given birth to a boy and was a single mother who was living a miserable and humiliating life. I felt no pity for her as she had brought it all on herself.
Thanks for watching the video. Please consider leaving a like and subscribing. See you in the next video.